I have a very exciting announcement to make. Salvete amici, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, hi. My name is Sabrina. I am a recent classics graduate of the University of Oxford, so if you're a massive classics nerd like me, or maybe someone who's potentially interested in applying to classics at Oxford, or just curious about my university experience in general, then feel free to hit the subscribe button down below and join me on my academic journey. This week's video is a very exciting and very important life update video, which I've been wanting to make for at least half a year since I found this information out, but I didn't want to jinx anything before it was properly 100% confirmed, so I've been holding off. I've been really patient about sharing this, but now that we're getting to the stage in the year where things are starting to get confirmed, the ball is rolling, I feel like I can finally talk about this and share it with you guys. And so maybe you can already guess what it might be based on the thumbnail of this video, or perhaps the title of the video itself, or just the kinds of content that I like to make across my different social media platforms here on Sabrina the Classicist. But if you guessed that I am going back into academia, you would be correct. So I'm over the moon and absolutely thrilled to announce that from October I will be studying for a Masters in Classics, more specifically a Classics MPhil, so a research Masters. My specialism is likely to be looking at a particular marginalised group in Roman society, which I'll talk about more in the future. But I am going to be studying this course from October at the University of Cambridge. Ta-da! So there you go, for those of you who clicked on this video wanting to know the goss. If you are a current Cambridge University student or someone who is going to be going to Cambridge this year, do have a look at the petition. I will have linked in my bio. It is about the GAZA 40, so the Palestinian students who are stuck in Gaza, who are not able to get their biometric information to support the visas that would take them to the UK universities that they have received a place for, including the University of Cambridge. So if you are able to sign that, and hopefully we'll be able to put some pressure onto the university to do something about it, apply some pressure to the government, because they should still have the same rights as, say, Ukrainian refugees or any other kind of refugees who are also facing this kind of conflict, then please have a look in the caption below. You can click away now, or you can stick around to hear me talking about my journey from graduating last year to now studying a Masters at Cambridge in October. The last time that I made a proper life update video was about 2 to 3 years ago. I was literally in my second year of my undergraduate degree. I just finished my first set of exams at Oxford. I was slightly traumatized by how difficult they were and really doubting my abilities and such. So I feel like my perspective since then has shifted quite a lot. Essentially, a short summary of that is that I sort of came middle of the year in my second year and I felt very, very down about my own abilities, but I knew that I still really loved classics and I wanted to do a lot better academically than I had done. And so for the last 2 years, so from third year to fourth year, I really put in a lot of effort to try and really up my grades, up my place in the ranking, because Oxford does rank you in your year group. You do find out your ranking. And I did eventually end up in my finals rising by about 30 places. So I put myself in the top third of the year group. And I'm really proud of myself for that. It was a lot of effort and I didn't quite reach the grades that I really, really wanted to get. I still did well enough to get to the Masters in Cambridge, but there's always that nagging feeling that you could have done a bit better. You could have improved your ranking by a few more places, etc., etc. But I'm trying not to be too hard on myself because I feel like an upward trajectory points towards better things in the future, and hopefully in this Masters, this opportunity will give me some time to really improve my academic skills even further, so I can really hone my essay writing and my research skills. And that was the one thing in my fourth year that I really, really found impactful, was the opportunity to do my first bit of original research in the form of an undergraduate thesis. In case you were wondering what that was about, well, it was about Roman eunuchs and eunuch slaves in Italy and how they came about to be there, because it kind of seems countercultural that they would be an accepted practice. But I can do a whole video on that in the future if anyone's interested, because it's a bit of a niche thing, but I do want to delve more into that part of Roman social history in my classics MPhil. The fourth year undergraduate thesis was a real turning point for me because it made me feel like, wow, if I do apply myself, I could be good enough to do research. I'm really enjoying this, so why not give myself a shot to keep pursuing classics and at least try and do the Masters and do some further specialism and some teaching, and to make sure that I can make classics a part of my career in whatever form that does end up being. In my fourth year, I did apply to Cambridge for the same course that I'm now going to be studying in October. I did get an offer, but I didn't get any funding. And the reason that this is important is because I am a first generation non-selective state school student, and my family is not super well off in that regards. They wouldn't be able to help me with any kind of funding. I would have to self-fund to be able to even take up this place. So the government is able to give you, in terms of postgraduate loan, like one flat fee. They don't give you a maintenance loan for postgrad masters, which is such a big barrier to people who don't have that like family safety net, because anyone who wants to do a PhD usually has to do a master's for the humanities. And as we all know, the master's funding or general humanities funding in this country is absolutely dire, because people think it's useless, which I think is ridiculous, really. If you think about the trajectory that society's been on and how tech and AI are now evolving so fast to kind of take over everything that we've known and transform our lives, and yet people don't want to learn about really what it means to be human, all of the kind of the history that we carry, all the culture we carry, all the literature that we've made. You know, what even is art if AI is there trying to make art for us and make us consume art? How can we even think like individuals if we're just being told what to think by an AI bot? So, you know, that's a whole other video for another time, but essentially the point is that the humanities funding in this country is really bad, and because I'm not in the top 1, 2, 3, 4 places in my year, I was never going to get any funding, despite having been to Oxford for my subject. People think that, oh, you go to Oxford, that must mean a lot in academia. It doesn't really mean anything unless you're within that top 10 bracket, and we do obviously know how everyone gets ranked. It doesn't mean anything. Therefore, I decided that I was going to take a year out to work. I've always been pretty determined, so if I want to make something happen, I will just make the sacrifices to make it happen. And over the past year, I have been working, I've been living at home, I've been working to save towards this master's and to reapply, because basically, although I did get into Cambridge last year, I obviously had to decline my place because they don't let you carry over offers. So I had to reapply this year, so there's no guarantee that I would even get in again, but luckily I did manage to secure an offer again, and I have now got the funding combined with the government postgraduate tuition to be able to actually fund my studies. But it is still a big investment for me, so I am not taking this lightly at all. I'm really passionate about learning about classics and academia, and I just know that I would be so devastated if I just never even gave myself the chance to at least try and pursue classics in some sort of way, in some specialist way. And then if, you know, this spins out to just being sort of more of like a public historian role, or working in a museum to do with classics, or, you know, if it does end up being some sort of academic role, that would be great. But I've at least got to give myself a shot to try and be this bit of a state school representation that we need in the higher levels of the classics world. Because at the moment, although we do have a lot of state schoolers who are now starting to be able to be given the opportunity to study classics at an undergrad level, the progression rates from undergrad to masters and then obviously to doing a PhD is going to be much, much lower. I therefore am very excited to be taking this channel on my other social media platforms along for the ride and covering, you know, aspects of student life again, which I obviously miss quite a lot, having now worked in the world of work for a year. I will get the chance to study, say, academic German as part of my course. I'll get to really delve back into ancient Greek. I'm mastering ancient Greek this year. That is my resolution. I've just decided I'm going to master Latin. Well, actually, I've semi-mastered Latin in the sense that I'm pretty good at it, but ancient Greek needs work. We're going to be able to go back to doing some formal dinners and things. That'll be pretty fun. But most of all, I will be also still be continuing to make educational classics accessible content, not only for people doing their A-levels and GCSEs, but also hopefully for a general audience. So if you do have any specific topics that you'd like me to talk about, please do feel free to comment them down below as well. I have some ideas about different kind of things I want to discuss. Hopefully I'll be doing a lot more kind of pop culture, classical reception stuff as well in the future. But if you do like any of the videos that I'm making, if you do find any of the content useful, even if you're watching from the future, or you found, you know, my past videos on Oxford admissions really helpful, please let me know, because I know that kind of content can help people, and that kind of guides me into what people want to know about, especially if it comes to things like postgrad and masters. Some people might want to know a bit more about that process because it's less talked about than undergrad. Being a Cambridge student does, however, mean that I will not be able to do full-time work as well as working on my research. So I'm really hoping that I can turn this channel into a small stream of income that at least helps support some of my living costs, because I obviously am funding myself completely by myself, not with any parental help or anything like that. So if you are able to help a girl out and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share with a friend that you think might also enjoy the content, thank you so much. That would honestly mean the world to me. I've got a couple more videos coming out, I think, in the next month or so, which is still going to be based on kind of Oxford, but also like ancient literature. I'm going to hopefully be doing a video on re-ranking Oxford colleges from 4 years ago, because that video needs updating, needs badly updating. And then I'll also be talking maybe a little bit more about the new R.F. Kuang book, Catabasis, if I can get my hands on it at all. I am going to be trying to post a lot more consistently this year on both this channel and also my Instagram and my TikTok. So follow those if you don't already. I'll link them down in my bio below. Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!